So let's quickly get into the MVC once again. So MVC framework is basically model, view, controller. Okay, so framework with three layers: model, view, and controller. Model is the data model where the database is. View is the front-end user interface, and controller is the set of controlling logics. Right. So when we compare our Salesforce components with this MVC framework, in the model we have the objects, which are like data tables, but object is the terminology which we are going to use here. So we have objects and fields. Fields are like columns. Okay, so this is what we have in the model. In the view we have apps, tabs, and pages. Okay, so we have seen on the top right corner you see the drop down with the list of apps. Then we saw there are several tabs like campaign, lead, account. So those are also user interface components. And for every object there is a page, or there can be multiple pages for one object, right? So then we have the pages also. That's what we have here. And controller is again the set of logics. And instructions, but controller is something that we will talk a little later on. We'll get into the controllers part a little later. After a few more sessions, we are going to get into the controllers part. Okay, so we'll start working with model and view for now. Alright, and we'll learn how to create these objects, fields, apps, tabs. Okay, so that's what we are going to do today. To do this, we are going to take a small example. Okay, I'll take a very small case study kind of a thing. We'll take a scenario and try to build a complete application, and we'll learn the entire thing in that. So the scenario that we're going to take is basically building the project management app for our company. Okay, so we are going to build a small project management company for a company, project management app for a company. Okay. An app which the company will be able to use to manage their projects. This is what we are going to do. Right. So the moment you start building an app, first thing you have to do is you just have to do the planning for the app. So basically, you'll have to decide on what all objects, what all fields, what all tabs you need for that particular app. Right. So first thing that you have to do is you just have to figure out what all components you need. You do not straight away jump into Salesforce.com to create the app. Just think of anything, anything which is constructed, any building or a house or whatever. Firstly, what is done? Firstly, the planning is done. There is a sketch which is drawn, and then the entire thing is constructed. Correct? The same way, if you're planning to build an app, first thing that you have to do, you just have to figure out what all components are required, and then you should get into the actual creation. Alright? Let's do that. So how do you start planning? Ideally, you should open an Excel spreadsheet to do this. Okay. So when you're talking about the project management app, first thing that you need to look into is that what data you need to store in that app. Okay. Whenever this MVC framework application you're designing, you have to consider the data model first, because that is the core, that is the base of the app. Okay. So first of all, you'll have to decide what kind of a data model you are looking into. Then you have to decide on the user interface part and the controller part. Okay. So first thing, we will decide on what all data needs to be stored, and according to the requirement, we are gonna plan out our objects and fields. So for managing projects, the first data table that we need is projects. Obviously, we need to track projects. So let's go ahead and write down project. Now, this is the table. This is basically the object. Object will have certain fields. What all fields do we need for projects object? I would want all of you to participate in this activity and keep on giving your suggestions also. So projects, because it's a project management app, primarily it will store information about project. What information needs to be stored about project? So what all fields do we need?
Project name,
What else?
duration,
Start date,
Hmm.
project type,
What is that?
capital maybe.
Capital?
Yeah, finance side.
Acha, budget? Capital,
end date also, projected end date.
projected end date, which is good. And actual end date also.
Yes.
What else?
Number of employees required for the project.
Number of employees required for that project. Okay, I'll just mark it. Later on you can see required or not. What else? What else do we need?
Project status, like whether it is in green or amber.
Status, very good. What else? Anything
Actual
else?
cost of the project,
Okay, very nice. Anything else? Okay, so we are good. Alright. We can keep it till here for now, and later on if you feel that you need one more field or a couple of other fields, you can do it. Okay. Alright. Now, once you have figured out the fields, the next job that you have to do is just beside the field, you have to include the data type of that field. So what type of data will get into that field? Like name is going to be text, duration can be number, start date is going to be date, budget is going to be currency, this is also date, this is also date, this is number, status can be a quick list or drop down, whatever you call. Actual cost is going to be again what data type?
currency,
Currency. So now you have planned for this particular object and the fields. You know that these are the fields. You know that these are the field types, the data types for the fields. Do we only need one object, project object for managing projects, or do we need other objects also? If we need other objects, can you suggest a few other objects that will be required? Start thinking about it.
Yeah, people involved in the project like project manager
People
is handling the
involvement
project.
object, okay. So let me call it, what should we call this object? People,
People,
okay. Consultant, okay. People. You can call it anything, whatever terminology your internal team understands, but basically what we are going to do here is we are going to put the details of the people who are working on the projects, right? Okay. So what all information do we need to track here?
employee ID,
Okay. Employee ID. Yes.
Well,
Designation.
We don't need name, right?
role, role. Yeah.
Okay. So let me just add the two fields for name before we get into other things. Designation. What is that? The other thing? Someone was saying something.
Role.
Oh.
That is our role.
Oh. What else?
Salary.
Phone number, contact number.
Phone, salary. What else?
email address.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Something like a skill set or something, so that he can be assigned to a certain project. Look into the skill set. Maybe. Okay. So let's keep it here. Can we quickly see what all data types we'll have for these fields? Employee ID will be what?
Number.
Number. Okay. It depends.
Text,
Next
Some
one,
company may
text.
have text also. This is when the text.
Text.
Designation is when the text.
it may be pick list also, right? Can be pick list also.
Quick list also.
Role also can be pick list. Number again.
Currency.
Currency. Pick list.
List. Okay. So basically, a multi-pick list is where you have an option of selecting multiple options. Uh, Normal pick list is where you can select one option. So because you can have multiple skill sets, let's say the resource may be good in Java as well as .NET. So we put it as a multi-pick list. So that we have the people table also created. What else do you think we need apart from projects and people?
Should we include a cell phone also?
In people,
A cell phone number?
under this people, right? You can.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have two objects here. We can actually have more objects also depending on the requirement. Currently we just have two. So let's start building the project management app with these two. and see how we actually build it. Later on, you can add more objects into it, like, under project, you can have assignments. A project is a big piece of work, right? Out of the project, there will be small assignments. So you can have activities or assignments, and then assignments can be assigned to the people. Instead of assigning the entire project to a certain person, if you break the project into assignments or activities, you can associate people with the assignment so that you can understand that who is working on which part of the project. So that sort of thing can be done. Then you can actually, include the payment related stuff here. So you can make it very complex. You can include a lot of things here. So eventually, at a later point of time, you guys can keep on increasing the number of objects and other things into this particular app. But for now, let's say we are good with these two objects, and let's start building this app in Salesforce. So all that you have to do now, see, I want you guys to tell me what all components do you think we need to create to accommodate this setup in Salesforce? What all components we need to create?
We should start first the build an app named
Okay,
project management.
someone else, please answer. Someone who does not know the answer, please try to figure it out. So what all components do you think we will need? Okay, let me take you to this particular screen. Relate that app to these things. What all do you think we will need to create?
We're going to create two custom objects.
We need two objects. Okay.
And in
Then
that custom objects, we have to insert these fields which we have
we
created
need to
in
create
this
the fields.
spreadsheet.
Okay. That's the data model part.
Yeah.
View part, what do we need to do?
New part tabs which we are going to be used are to be added in the tabs menu.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Okay. Microphones will be back on mute, everyone. So let's create it. Okay. So as you all said, correct? So all that we have to do is, once we've decided on the data model, we just have to, data model part, so we have already, designed it. So we know that, okay, when these two objects and the fields need to be created. Okay. Apart from that, what do we need? We need one app, two tabs. Why two tabs? Because each tab will connect us to one object. Two objects and fields within objects. That's it. That's all we have to do. But this is the ingredient for preparing this recipe. That's it. We need one app, we need two tabs, two objects, and a field. App name, let's say I will call it a project management app or project manager, whatever. Tabs will be named after the object. Like one tab will be called projects, the other tab will be called people. Object names and fields we have already written here, so that should not be a problem. Okay, so let's get started with Salesforce and let's do it. I want one of you to share your login ID password with me. You can just type in a personal message to me with the login ID password. Anyone? Just log in into that. So Hema, I'm using your login ID. Can you put the password also, please? Okay. You will receive a verification code. Can you just send it to me? The verification code. Just go and check your email, get the verification code and give it to me. 18539. Thank you. Alright, so this is the Salesforce environment. So the first thing that I want you to do is I just want you to build the data model components. Okay. So first of all, build both the objects and the fields. That's what we're gonna start with. Where do you build the objects? You just have to go to setup. Under build, there is an option called create objects. Okay. So first of all, you just need to go ahead and create these two objects, the projects and the people object. So first of all, let's do the projects object. So all that you need to do is go to setup, build, create objects, click on new custom object, mm, project. Okay. Just give a label and a plural label and click on save. Okay. Your object is ready. Done. Now, the moment you create a new object, there's a small concept that I want to tell you. In Salesforce, we have a concept of standard and custom. What is standard? What is custom? Anything which is given by Salesforce is standard. You have a lot of objects which are already existing in your Salesforce, right? So those are all standard objects. Then you have objects which are custom objects. The ones that you create are called custom objects. The same way you have standard fields, standard apps, custom apps. So whatever has been given by Salesforce is standard. What you create is custom basically. Okay. So the object that we just created is a custom object. Okay. If you see custom object project, so this is a custom object. Now the moment you create a custom object, it by default comes with 4 standard fields. By default there are 4 fields. Okay. In addition to these 4 fields, if you need any other field, you can create those as custom fields. So one project name field, owner, last modified by, created by. So these 4 fields are already there by default. Okay. Now whatever additional fields you need, you can create those. Like new custom field and relationship, click on new. Okay. And so our what all fields are required in our table. Name, this is already there. Okay. This is This was already available as a standard field, the name field, so I'm not including this. Duration. So what is that field type for duration? Number. I'm trying to create that field. Duration is going to be number. So field type you select. Then you go to next. And say duration and days. Click on next. On this step, you just click on visible for now. Okay, you don't have to understand what exactly this is doing for now. Later on, you will understand. Click on next. And this also you can just click on save. You don't need to be worried about this part. So the duration field is ready. So I've created the object, and in that I already have the project name field. These are basically the system fields used for managing the system related information. So we are not bothered about these fields for now. We have created a duration field. The same way we can go ahead and create other fields like start date. So start date is also going to be a custom field. Click on new. Date. This is going to be a date field, right? Click on date. Start date. Click on next. Select the visible thing. Go to next. Save. Alright. The same way the other fields also you can create. I'm not creating all the fields. You can create the remaining of them. Okay, later on. Now, so this object is ready. My first object is ready. Now I should create the second object. Process remains the same. Again, you have to go to setup, create objects, click on new custom object. The other object name is people. Save. Okay. Click on new. Okay. The first is employee ID. So employee ID, as we thought, it's going to be a number. We'll pick number. Click on next. Click on visible. Go to next. Save it. I want a designation. So we'll just go create a new field. Designation is going to be a pick list. Select that field type, pick list. Go to next. Designation. Enter values for the pick list. Whatever designations are there. Let's say project manager. next, make it visible, go to the next, save this. Right, so I've created the second object also. There are a lot of other fields. You guys, when you're practicing, you can create all the fields. Okay, so for me, two objects are ready, right? The data model in the backend is already there. Now, all that I need is the front end components. The model is ready. Now we need the front end component. So what all front end components do we need? We need the tabs and the app, right? So firstly, we will create an app and then we will create the two tabs. Okay, the way we see the apps here, there are a lot of apps which have been provided by Salesforce. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to create one app for our this particular project management thing. Inside that app, we are going to create two tabs and include the tabs inside that particular app. Right. So how we are going to do that? Again, the same way. Just need to go to setup, go to apps. Okay, so these are the default apps which are there. I'll create a new app. Okay. As we discussed earlier, the things that we are creating are the custom things. So it's going to be a custom app for us. Okay, just go ahead and select the custom app. Go to next. Give it a name, whatever you want to put. Go to next. If you want, you can include an image for your app. Okay. By default, this is an image. If you include some other image, that will be displayed here for this particular app. Okay. I'm not including the image here. Just go to next. Now, when we are talking about an app in Salesforce is basically a collection of tabs, right? What is an app in Salesforce? An app in Salesforce is collection of tabs, right? So, you will have objects. Try and understand this. You will have objects in the backend. You will have the tabs which connect you to the object, and you will have apps which are basically the collection of tabs, right? So when you try to create a new app, it asks you a question that out of the available tabs, there are so many tabs which are already there in your Salesforce. Do you want to include some of the tabs in your app? So currently we don't need, but sometimes you may have that requirement. You might need some of the existing tabs also to be a part of the app that you are creating. Got it? Home tab is going to be there by default. You cannot remove it. But other tabs, in case you need it, you will include them. If you don't need them, you will not include. Right? Yeah. So we are good. I think we don't need any of the existing tabs. So we should just click on next. Okay. On step number 5, assign to profiles, again just click on visible and move on. You don't have to worry about this part right now. Click on save. Alright. So yeah, my app is ready. I've created an app called Project Manager. This is a custom app. If you go and click on the app drop down, you will find this app, Project Manager. It's there, right? But it does not have any tab inside it. Why? Because we did not include any of the tabs, any of the existing tabs. So if it currently does not have any tab, then what do we need to do? We just need to go ahead and include the other tabs here. Then we'll have to create the tabs for the objects that we have created. We'll have to include those tabs here. How are we going to do that? Pretty simple. You just have to go to setup and create the tabs. So you already have two objects, right? Projects and people. You just have to go ahead and create tabs for these two objects. Just go to setup, create. This time go to tabs. This time you want to create tabs. Just click on tabs. Okay. We create a tab for custom object. You have the option of creating a web tab. The web tab is something which will take you to a website or something like that, but we don't want to get into that part. We just want to create a custom object tab, a tab which can connect me to a certain custom object. So all that you need to do is just click on new custom object tab and select the custom object for which you want to create the tab. People is the object. Pick a tab style. Tab style is just a combination of an image and a color. You can pick anything that you like. Moving next. This page you can skip. This add to profile page you can just skip and leave it as it is. Go to next. Okay. Now on this page you are asked a question. You are creating a tab now, right? So here you are asked in which all apps you want this tab to be included. Remember while we were creating the app, there was a question that which all tabs you want in a certain on that particular app. Now the question is under which all apps you want this tab to be included. So you have the choice. I just want this tab to be available under Project Manager. If you want it to be available under Sales app also, you can include that. But that's something which I don't need right now. So I just say in the Project Manager and then I click on Save. Right. See, the People tab has already appeared. The same way we are going to click on a new custom object tab and create a tab for project also. See, so your second tab also has come up on the app, right? So now if you go to Project Manager app, you will have the option of adding projects and people in this. So my app is almost ready. Let's go to projects. I should be able to add details of project. Project 1, duration. Let's say this is a 40 days project. Starts around 29 Feb. Save it. It's 35 days project. It starts today. Save it. Got it? The same way you can keep on adding people also. People name. Okay, this is the designation read. Save it. Got it? So you have built an app which is allowing you to store information related to your project and people which you wanted to store. Right? Clear on this? Let me know if anyone has any question understanding it so far.